The next verse 31 also talks about Vedas, elaborately how Vedas were divided into 4 divisions by Vyasadeva. Okay, we'll see that in due course. So today I was thinking of, because 2 verses speak about Vedas, so I also had a long time desire to understand what it is, the history, everything. So yesterday I was going through. I'll just try to share what I tried to read yesterday. It's not working. So Vedas, in general, people have understanding. A Veda means it is a book form. But actually Veda is not a book. So Veda means actually knowledge. Because originally this knowledge was received by Brahma from Narayana. Of course, Krishna gave to Narayana and Narayana. Then Brahma it comes, that we see in Bhagavatam also. So what is then knowledge or Veda means? Anything, any knowledge is called Veda. Anything we, from, say somebody is cooking, that is also is knowledge. Somebody is cutting vegetables, that is also knowledge. Somebody construction, that is also knowledge. Somebody killing, so that is also knowledge. Somebody stealing, that is also knowledge. So everything is knowledge, but there are original knowledge which is coming from Vedas, and then manipulated or duplicate, deviated knowledge, that is people use and misuse it. So there is original knowledge and false knowledge. Original knowledge is which is coming in the Vedas, which is for in the positive direction, and false knowledge is which people misuse in due course, and then manipulate it and misuse for their own personal benefit. So that is false knowledge. So we read in our learnt in DOS, I think the 3rd session, it comes Vedas. Or even Ishopanishad also Prabhupada writes in the beginning that in general, in our conditioned state, all human beings have 4 defects. So that we know, I will not elaborate it. So then what is the way to actually understand Vedas? That also we'll see. So Jiva Goswami says that we need to first establish Vedas. Many people come and argue about existence of the God or different personalities, characters. So unless, Jiva Goswami says, unless we establish that Vedas are absolute truth, then there is no point in arguing with such people, because unless they accept Vedas, which is absolute truth, which doesn't have any human origin, so there is no point in arguing with them, because they are not going to anyway accept. So that also we'll see how it is. Sorry? Repeat. Jiva Goswami says that unless we establish Vedas as absolute truth, Vedas are absolute truth, means it doesn't have any human origin, it is directly coming from the Supreme, there is no point, because all the characters, personalities, everything, people when they question, it is their knowledge also is whatever they are mentioning, that is also from Vedas only. Unless they accept Vedas, that Vedas are absolute truth and it beyond human origin, there is no point in arguing with them, because if they don't accept Vedas as supreme absolute truth, and they will not, there is no reference only base for any argument, because to understand anything or to argue anything, there should be base or reference. So that is called pramana. Of course, he has established it in this Shat Sandarbhas, Jiva Goswami. So without establishing pramana, it is very difficult to understand, which is because there is so much false knowledge, false information. So it is said that to know any object, we need a process. So that process is called pramana. Pramana means evidence or process. Suppose we want to know what is, say this, somebody says that chair, somebody says it is a chair, somebody says it is a table. So how do we, but we need to know first what that characteristics. We should have a reference. The table means it should have like this. Chair means it should have such and such properties. So such reference is not there because somebody will keep on saying it's a table, somebody will say it is a chair. So that's why that pramana reference has to be there. That is Vedas. So that means there is a common reference for everybody to accept. Amnaya Vedyam Pratyakshadi Trayam. So truth is known only through Vedas, and the topmost of all the evidence or pramanas is Vedas. So from Vedas only we can get all whatever absolute truth or any true knowledge. That process of to know anything we need is a process that is called pramana, as I mentioned. So there are two things in the Vedas always, the Vedic system, pramana and prameya. So prameya means the goal or object to be known, and pramana means evidence or the process to know that goal or object. Understood? Pramana and prameya. Like example is given. How do you know that, say, Africa is existing? For us, pramana is what? Geography. Maybe that map is there. So otherwise, we have not gone there. So that reference has to be there. Otherwise, somebody said, no, it is not there. Somebody said, no, it is not there. But what is the reference? That whatever the education system they have mentioned, the prescribed that map published. So that one is the reference. So when we come to this prameyas, or objects to be known, so there are total in the scriptures 9 prameyas are there, which Madhvacharya has established. 9 prameyas. Later on, that 9 prameyas were, I think, commented by, I think, Baladev Vidyabhushan. He has made a commentary, written a commentary on that 9 prameyas, and he wrote a book that is called Prameya Ratnavali. So that is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has taken it, and he modified one in that 9 and added one more to make it that 9 prameyas into Gaudiya way. So then that is called Dasamula Tattva. So there are many times we don't know what is, we were thinking what is this. I was also not knowing yesterday, I just gone through. So I'll just read that name so that we get some, at least the knowledge. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur's listing of Sri Chaitanya's, actually these 10 prameyas also, it encompasses all the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's listing of Sri Chaitanya's essential teachings can be narrowed down to 10 Sanskrit words and phrases. What is it? First is evidence, pramana. Second is parama tattva, the truth, supreme truth about that what we should know. Third is sarva shaktiman, the possessor of all energies. Akila rasamrita sindhu. So this is what one Bhaktivinoda Thakur has edited it. Vibhinnamsha tattva, the principle of separated parts. And Baddha Jiva, the conditioned, bound living entities. And Mukta Jiva, liberated souls, 7th one. 8th is Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. And 9th is Suddha Bhakti. And 10 last is Krishna Prema, pure love to Krishna. So these are the 10 topics to be known. So if you see all these things, it's all there in Prabhupada's books. Because Prabhupada wrote commentary based on this 10 prameyas from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So all his commentaries, sometimes you will see in the same chapter also you get all these things, or some same sloka also, most of the things. Prabhupada establishes it. So how this Dasamula Tattva, Bhaktivinoda Thakur took that name is, in Ayurveda there is a concept, Dasamula, the roots of 10 herbs, and they make a medicine. So that medicine is cure for various kinds of diseases. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave that name because this is a medicine for the curing the material disease. So when we understand all these prameyas. So why it is? Because before knowing, if you want to know, if you are going to any place or you want to learn anything, so before that we should know what is the goal, what we are going to achieve. Say suppose if we are going to Goshala, what will be our goal? To learn about cows, to know about milk or maybe vegetation or something like that. We will not go there to learn fashion design. So that's why that goal or objective should be clear before doing anything. So similarly in management also, if you don't have any agenda, what we are going to discuss in the management meeting, we may end up in discussing or wasting time there, discussing something else. So that way that objective should be very clear before doing any activity. So similarly, these prameyas should be clear before we understand the Supreme Absolute. So next we'll come to the knowledge or the aspect of Veda, how it doesn't have a human origin. So that's why it is called, Vedas are called Apaurushaya. Purusha means Apauru, Pauru means Purusha. Purusha means human being. Apauru means not human. So Apaurushaya means it doesn't have any human origin. So that means it is coming directly from Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So in the introduction to Ishopanishad, Prabhupada writes, the Vedas are not compilations of human knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes from the spiritual world, from Lord Krishna. Many people argue that Vedas have a human origin. So this is how our Britishers have butchered our Vedic system of education or knowledge. How? Because I was also doing some course recently, so I had gone through that. There are all the philosophies are mentioned there, but how they mention is, they say this is philosophers, this is rishis, they have written. And how they say, they never tell that it is wrong, or they never say you should reject it. They say, it is good. It's written by some great personality at different times. So like that, when they say that it is written by some great person, so even Gandhi is also a great person. So he writes something that becomes a Veda. So that how subtly they have, made our mind corrupted. All whoever has gone through this modern education system or British education system, so everybody has got this subtly in their consciousness. It has gone deep that Vedas are having human origin. So it's like any great sage has written. So many people say the great sages have written. Some great person has written. So in that way, if you say Vedas are written by some great person, and they say that Krishna is also a great human being. One of my colleague, he was saying, and I was working, he said, Krishna is a superhuman because he has done some superhuman activities. That's why you call superhuman. So, so this how Britishers, they have subtly introduced education system and corrupted the mind of Indians. Because previously, Prabhupada used to say, he used to give example that somebody says anything to some person that you have to follow this, then they will ask, is it Veda that I have to follow? Because they respected Vedas as equal as God. That's why they were that much faith they had in Vedas. But when you make it a human, written by some human at different times of time, then they lose that value. And sometimes these Vedas, they say also, because You see, these Vedas are written by a human. How? Because you see that name of that Veda, Taittiriya Upanishad, written by Taittiriya Rishi, Aitariya Upanishad, written by Aitreya Rishi, Manduka Upanishad, written by Manduka Rishi. So they have written, but so their name is there. Otherwise, this should have some other name. So, how this name came? Sometimes, actually, this Vedas it's all revealed to such personalities, great sages. They were not human beings like you and me. So they are great personalities because of their tapasya and meditation. That knowledge was revealed to them. They are called Drishtant. I don't remember the exact word. So they could see the Risheha Drishtaraha. It is said that they could see the knowledge or the knowledge. They could see that when that knowledge is spiritual knowledge is revealed, then they spoke it out or they have written. So that's so. And sometimes those who have revealed it or they have written because of their revelation. So sometimes their name is given to that because they have revealed. It is not that because they have composed it something new. It was revealed to them, they have wrote it down. So that's how their names have come. So this how this Britishers have made it, corrupted the mind and the education system. And they did subtly, but the Buddhists and the Islam, they have, in the gross way they have done. Buddhists, they have most of the literatures, Vedas, everything was destroyed by Buddhists, not by Muslims. More than 90% was destroyed by Buddhists. So because Buddhists, they rejected Vedas. They rejected God. It's a complete atheism. Muslims, they had faith in God. So it is said that Shankaracharya would not mind sit and eat with Muslims, but he will not sit and eat with Buddhists. That's why he threw them, he made them go away out of India. Because Muslims had at least faith in God. So they believe in God, but Buddhists not. So, of course, this material education, I will not go through it more. So all this, during that time, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time also, there was this Arya Samaj, Brahma Samaj, all these people, they were all created by Britishers. They had, because they were scholars, they were speaking Sanskrit, they were knowing Vedas, but problem was that they had a British mind, kind of atheists they were. So that's why they did not trouble them, they revered them, Britishers. So and then at the end what they made Nehru a leader, and then they created all these samajas, because what they wanted to do, these people are going to do. So they peacefully left. By that way, after leaving the country also they were ruling. Now also they are ruling, because we are still following that education system. So as soon as we say that Vedas are not Apaurusheya, are having a human origin written by great person, so as we said that any great person written something, it becomes a Veda. Other than what is the difference between the great person who has written and the actual Vedas? So that's how people lost faith in the Vedas. So Veda is not a compilation of human being, it is coming from Supreme Personality of Godhead. How we know it is, we read in the Bhagavatam, first canto, the first verse, what it says, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yak Surya. So here what is, who is spoken, how the knowledge was revealed? In the heart of Brahma. So what is Brahma here? Tene Brahma. So here Adi Kavi is Brahma, and here Brahma means knowledge. So where is in Bhagavad Gita also knowledge is referred as Brahma. And 3rd chapter, 15th verse. Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajna pratishtitam. That means this karma, brahmodbhavam viddhi, all this Vedic sacrifice, everything is coming from brahmakshara samudbhavam. Akshara means the Supreme Personality of God. Samudbhavam is coming from the Supreme Personality of God. It's manifested. And tasmat sarvagatam, this all-pervading transcendence, nityam yajna pratishtitam. So it is present in all the yajnas and activities which is mentioned in the scripture. So that means any activity, any yajnas, performance, sacrifice we do, in that Lord is present. So that's what this sloka meaning tells about. So all knowledge comes. So, okay. Originally there was only one Veda. That is, actually originally was also 4 Vedas. We said originally one Veda and then Vyasadeva was divided. So originally also there were 4 Vedas. That's what Lord revealed to Brahmaji. So when Brahmaji spoke out with his 4 mouths, so it manifested at different times, and it was manifested in a haphazard way. There is no sequence. So that's why, of course, later on it was revealed to different sages from Brahma when he spoke. It was in the ether space. Then it was revealed to the sage who could access, tune into that frequency by their meditation, they could access. And then Vyasadeva, he has segregated it and sorted it out so that easily it can be understood. So these 4 Vedas, Rig, Sama, Yajur, Atharva. So in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is mentioned how these 4 Vedas are emanated from the breathing of the Lord. Asya mahato bhutasya nishvashitam etad yad rigvedo yajur vedaha samavedo atharva vedang grishihi. So these all 4 Vedas are emanations. Nishvashitam. Nishvashitam means breathing. We have in the Brahma Samhita. What is that verse? Yasyaika nishvashitam atavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanata. So that from the breathing of Lord, all the Jagadandanatha, Brahma and all other demigods, everything is emanating from the Jivanti Loma Vilaja, the air pores or holes of the Lord. So this way, from the breathing of the Lord, the Vedas also manifested. So first Krishna gave to Narayana, Narayana to Brahma, and then it came down to Rishis, and then Vyasadeva has separated it. Okay. So this, I'll just go little technical details about the Vedas and how many chapters are there. I don't know if you know already from DOS, so I'm just repeating it for my own memory. So Rigveda, all these 4 Vedas have got 1130 chapters together. So Rigveda has got 21 chapters, Yajurveda has got 100 chapters, Samaveda has got 1000 chapters, Atharva has got 9 chapters. So total 1130. And then these 4 Vedas again divided into shakas, into 4 sections. They are Samhitas, Mantras, Brahmanas and Aranyakas. So Samhitas are invoking, which has mantras, mantras only it is called. So to invoke the different deities, you see all these yajnas, even the Purushayukta is called Saharsha Shirsa Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapa. So all those things is mentioned, invoking different deities. Like yajna, first they invoke Agni, any Vedic sacrifice. So they invite first Agni. So like that different devatas and the Supreme Lord also invited. Of course, that later we may see that all these different demigods also actually pointing to Supreme Lord. Then comes mantras. Mantras are actually Upanishads. And Brahmanas, these also same slokas coming from the Samhitas, but it is mentioned for the directions on how to live in the city. That is mentioned in the Brahmanas. And Aranyaka means Aranya, how to stay in the forest. So for Brahmanas, it is said that they should stay in, Grihasthas, they should stay in, city. So Aranyakas means sannyasis, vanaprasthas and brahmacharis, because they had nothing to do with the outside world. So they are simply practicing. So they should be staying in the forest. So now here city means it is not actually the city what we are saying. The city there means it is a village. So that's why Prabhupada said that Grihasthas should be staying in the farm communities in the villages. And now brahmacharis, sannyasis, vanaprasthas, they are actually preaching they should be staying in the city. It's a concrete jungle where there is a need. Because we are not following the Vedic time of brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha. Because we, of course, grihasthas are also staying here. Because ours is a preaching movement. So, because if you have to live like a Vedic brahmachari or sannyasi, then we have to live with the kopin. We should not cut our hair. We should not cut our nails. So all those things are there. So that we can't present. So that's why. So our following of brahmachari is not that time. So this is what we are following is for the city. Those who are in the city, how they should live. So this is what brahmacharis we are following. Yes. So out of this, each division had I said 1,001, again had 1,130 chapters. But what right now available, because after this burning all by Buddhists and Muslims, is only Samhitas. We have only 11 chapters left. Mantras or Upanishads have 220. It was actually 1,130. Now only 220. Out of which I don't know how many we have access. And Brahmanas 18 chapters are available, and Aranyakas 7. So in this way, Vyasadeva has handed over all these 4 Vedas to his disciples and grand disciples like that. So that comes in the 4th chapter of 1st canto, Narada Vyasa conversation. Which Rishi he has given that. Rig Veda was given to the Paila Rishi. He has become professor of it. And Jaimini Samaveda, and Vaishampayana Yajurveda, and Atharva Veda is for Angira Muni. Of course, there are so many technical details here. So one thing I'll mention about Samaveda, because Krishna he said in 10th chapter that Vedanam Samavedosmi, and among the Samavedas also, it's a Brihat Sama. So he is the. Because this Veda, Samaveda, though Rig Veda, it is, or Yajurveda, Yajurvedas are actually chanted with the proper meter and krama. And the same thing in the Samaveda, it is, they sing in a very, there is no meter, but they sing in a very sweet way. Okay. The Samhitas and the Brahmana section of Vedas deal mainly with the performing yajnas. Of course, that also I will not mention now. We have less time. So I will come to this purport. I don't know. I have to do other 2 verses also. So in this purport of this verse and next verse, Prabhupada mentions about Vedas and how when a preacher or teacher of a dharma, if he does something wrong, if he commits misuses the Vedas, the common people, they are the lower class, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudras, they lose faith in the Vedas, lose faith in the Brahmanas, and they lose faith in God also. That's what happened with at the time of this Ashoka. So that time, the most of them were all these Vedas were destroyed by Buddhists. because this Ashoka, he had a, I think he is from this side only, no, somewhere in Karnataka. King Ashoka? No, okay. So he, sorry? Okay. So he was a very powerful king, and he destroyed actually almost all the Vedas because he was following Buddhism. So it says that Ashok Chakra, we say, the 24 spokes, so that represents the 24 principles of Buddhism. So many of us, even the people also, they don't know. We say Jai, what is that? Bharat Mata ki Jai. But they don't know that these are the people who have destroyed the culture of Bharat. So even this so-called organizations also, they don't know. So that time, these two philosophers, Jaimini, Karma Mimamsa, it was spreading very fast. And these people have started misusing these Vedas and mistreating the people. So that's how people, lower class people, the lower order people, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, they were just waiting when they were looking for some other alternative just to avoid these people and take to that. So that is the time that time there are two people, prominent, powerful people. One is from Kshatriya dynasty, another is from Vaishya dynasty. The person who was from Kshatriya dynasty, he was, I forgot his name, I think Sakya Simha. So he was becoming so powerful, and then he had accepted, I think he is also named some Buddha, and the Gautam Buddha. There are 4 Buddhas. So he was one of them. So when he started that, people became, they accepted most of them, and they became Buddhist followers. And then other people, those Vaishyas, they accepted a person who was a Vaishya, and they become Jains. So that's where the Jain started. So because of Brahmins' misuse of Vedas, atheism became prominent. Buddhism and Jainism is actually atheism. Okay, only 2 minutes are there. So some more things are there. So I'll just conclude with so all the Vedic knowledge, which is divided into Sambandha, Abhidyaya and Prayojana. So even this Dasamula, Jiva Goswami, Shad Sandarbha, even if you see Bhagavatam also. So everything is divided into Sambandha, Abhidyaya and Prayojana. Why? Because Sambandha is the Shrutis, they establish Sambandha, knowledge aspect. And Smritis, they give Prayojana, how should we follow or how should we execute that, what is mentioned. Because Shrutis are rules. They're just like sutras, they mention. Like a king orders he makes some rule that this everybody should follow. It will be like an order. And Smritis are like a friend. He tells in a very understandable, simple language, very sweetly. That's like Smriti. And Nyaya is this Prasthanatraya, they call 3. Shruti, Smriti and Nyaya. So Nyaya is about why to do. Shruti is what to do, knowledge, Sambandha. And Smriti is how to do, that is Abhidyaya, the process. And if you get doubt, why should I do? So that is Nyaya. So by logically you get convinced, and then after that what we do is we just do it. So Prabhupada said for us 4 books are sufficient. We don't have to go through all this Vedas, everything. So Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita and NOD. If these 4 books we nicely study, then that is sufficient for preaching, our own nourishment also, and for the preaching also. If you understand this, that is sufficient. Hare Krishna. So I'll pause here. Sorry, it took more time. Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah, any? No, I have skipped many